Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Kensil Culture. And here he is, the man who makes pop culture pop. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the showrunner himself. Let's hear it for comedian John Kensil. John!
Hey, it's listener Win right there.
With a hat.
Yeah, exciting times tonight. I saw three today. Well, it may have been the same one. 3 giant inflatable rats at places that were being picketed by union fellas.
I saw 2 rats last night, like at 3:00 in the morning. They were on Broad and Snyder, and that's where all the junkies hang out, and they throw things in the street, and it's very unsanitary. And I saw like 3 rats come out. And, and I've never seen it. It's someplace that I take the subway there, and I've never seen that many rats. I've seen a lot of needles and a lot of, different people being beat up and things like that. But I have never seen a rat down there until last night, and I saw a whole bunch. And I did not know that rats are actually nocturnal, okay? Rats and
they can't eat meat on Fridays?
No, that's a Catholic upbringing. Rats, okay. That's like rats are Rizzo or somebody.
I'm not hip to your lingo.
Well, one time in New York City when they tore down. One time,
the audience is over there on the side of the house.
One time in New York City, okay, I was walking down 8th Avenue late at night after a bout of adult beverages. And we had to cross the street because they were tearing down the old Madison Square Garden. If I tell you that there were 10,000 rats that came out when we were crossing the street, I would be underestimating. I've never seen something as scary as that in my life. And it was just right on 8th Avenue and 48th or 49th or something like that. But there were thousands of these rats. And the things that I've just learned, okay, about rats is that they have leaders and they stick together. If one of the rats gets sick. And then I found out that rats, there's so many of them. There's like 59 different kinds, not like Heinz, not like 57. Yeah. But rats can actually dream. Rats have depression. Rats remember direction. Okay, they're like super. Their teeth never stop growing. They eat their own poop. Okay, and for the nutritional value.
That's the secret of MyFitnessPal.
What? That's not the first, but it could be number 2. But that's a simple. No, but you're working out some way. But rats, we're going to talk more about rats later, okay? I know that John has a few announcements to make.
Not really announcements. We were off the past couple of weeks. We had dental work done. He had to get wisdom teeth put in.
That hurt my fillings.
And
ain't that the truth? And then we did a big super show this past weekend in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, at the Comedy Cabaret. Yeah, a beautiful. We had a lot of fun, and it was like and not working as much during the pandemic. And when you get back on stage, it's like you're born again, and you know why you're up there. It didn't make bad sense. No, you know why you have that drive to get up there, because you do feel the outpouring of appreciation and I'm not going to say love, appreciation and like, okay, and you sort of need that as middle kids.
Who else is from Doylestown, Pennsylvania? James A. Michener, who wrote Hawaii.
He wrote Hawaii, and he wrote South Pacific.
Yeah.
South Pacific was a big Broadway hit, and he. And Rodgers and Hammerstein, okay, and he convinced Hammerstein to move up to the Doylestown area. And Hammerstein, if you don't know who he is, he was one of the greatest lyricists.
He's a German industrial metal band.
Of all. Yeah, no. He was with Richard Rogers, and they wrote South Pacific and many others. I don't want to show my knowledge too much. But
how about Pearl S. Buck, who wrote The Good Earth?
Was she from there? I did not.
Did you ever see that movie? Oh.
I know Pearl S. Buck is early environmentalist. Okay, and Michener, South Pacific became a giant hit. Okay, and it was based on his Tales of the South Pacific, and he would do things like that. He did like a book Hawaii, or he did different geographical locations.
In the movie or Broadway play, South Pacific is about soldiers in World War II in the Pacific, like visiting an island in the South Pacific.
Right.
And there's a famous scene in the film where a heavy-set Polynesian woman comes out and she sings a beloved song called Happy Talk.
Happy talk, keep talking, happy talk. Talk about things you like to do.
Well,
you've got to, yeah. That was, that was Bloody Mary, and they would chew beetle nuts, okay? Beetle nuts are not people who really like Ringo or George Harrison or something. Beetle nuts are have a meth effect, that if you chew them, your teeth become red like the beetle nut itself. The beetle nut grows on, I guess, trees or bushes or whatever the beetle nut grows on. But they're addictive, like meth or amphetamines or things like that.
There's a famous sketch on SCTV with John Candy, where he plays a detective, and it's called, instead of Chinatown, it's called Polynesian Town, and they mix Chinatown, the Jack Nicholson film, with South Pacific. So he's in this Polynesian restaurant, and Andrea Martin comes out as that woman singing Happy Talk.
Okay.
She's dressed as a heavy-set Polynesian
woman. Talk about those boys.
And she's doing that happy talk, right? And the crowd didn't like it. And someone hits her in the face with a pineapple. She goes, "Who threw that?"
Wasn't that Noriega or Pineapple Face?
Oh,
you know what? Down in those Polynesian countries, they eat rats. Okay, they eat the rats. Look on YouTube. There's recipes for rats, and after after the big one, after
rat steaks.
Everybody's going to be breeding and eating rats because you can, that's going to be the food after the apocalypse. Nobody's going to be able to grow goats or cows in your living room, but you can grow rats in your cellar and have protein all the time. I swear to God. And there's many recipes for RAT out there. Because they're not used to it. It's they came when the ships came in, and the rats were on board.
Speaking of rats,
you saw 3 big ones about the Union. That's
and there's different ones too. But I've been house sitting my brother's house.
Okay,
he's away for a couple days.
I know you sit around the house a lot.
And his he's not home, and his address is 9200 Frankfurt Avenue, and his passcode for his door is 141115. But he's not home, so don't go over there. So anyway,
I don't understand that. That's a little bit technical for me.
The joke was I just told the audience
rainbows and unicorns.
I just told our thousands of listeners his address, and he's not home, and the code to get into his house. Anyways, no, that's not his house, and that residence I just said is a NMAB paint store. But the story, but back to rats.
So you were sort of ratting them out.
Anyway,
I'm sorry. Go on with your tale.
All right. I have to. What do you call it? So I'm house sitting, make sure the ghosts don't get out. It's my job to let the
You're
fly.
a good brother, yeah. I understand.
It's my job to let the fly out every night. And but he has a cat, and it's an orange tabby cat that's been hanging around his house. Mm-hmm. And a very nice cat. It just started hanging around, and they gave a name like George. I don't know why. But it's real sweet. It looks like, Morris the cat, orange tabby cat.
Uh-huh.
and the cat wants to go in and out all night long. So I'll sleep on the couch, and the cat will come up and start scratching at the couch and say, his way of saying, "Let me out." I thought he was being friendly. He just wants to go out. Well, in all the years that they've had this cat since like 2015, sometimes cats will respect you and honor you by catching a mouse and dropping off. Here's your payment for taking care of me of our cat pack.
That's that's part of their job.
Yeah.
And they're put out by automation. But I bet people would have ate that mouse back in the day. And
he's never done it. And
chocolate mouse.
And over here, even though it looks like pot, I keep a bag of peanuts in my pocket. I feed the squirrels. I feel I'm like
Is that a bag of peanuts in your pocket or?
Yes.
Cashew.
I'm shell shocked. I feed the animals over there.
Your dad used to do that, didn't he?
Yeah, and those little creeps would be nice back to me, like give me a meatball supreme or something like that, but they don't.
That's the seagulls down on the boardwalk.
Yeah. Well, this cat. I'm out there. It was last summer, and I'm watching the cat laying in the driveway around dusk, and it couldn't have been a mouse. It was about the size of a hot dog roll. It was a rat or a giant mole. It was a rat. It had to be a rat, right?
As big as a hot dog roll. Okay.
Yeah.
I got that.
For scale.
Okay. Maybe a weasel or
it was big, like a box of stick of butter. And I'm looking around my house to see what's comparable to it. And so anyway, though, the cat's just laying there,
right?
And this thing's jumping all around like it wants to play with him. And the cat does not have any eat mode. Like I'm going to kill that thing and eat it. It's just lays there. I see him laying on the lawn, and birds are landing in front of him that are covered in soy sauce, just waiting to be eaten. I just stare at him. But it was a rat jumping around. The rat wasn't doing anything to him. I mean, it wasn't. If the rat, it seemed like the rat was frolicking, or sometimes how to make him like tease him to get him out of the way. But
rats look at anything, and especially people, as food.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And not especially people, but they have been known to cause a lot of extinction in certain kind of birds because they go for their favorite food is like bird eggs.
Yes.
Okay. Or turtle eggs, and just things that they get that are they're dormant and yet they're still alive. Like a wounded animal or things like that, or when people are asleep. That's when they get you.
And they crawl in your throat?
No, they go for your face.
Oh. That thing, that thing that was jumping around the cat.
I'm just thinking about.
Well, a couple of days later, it was running behind my brother's truck in his driveway, and out of nowhere, a hawk came down and swooped and picked it up and just flew away with it. At first, I thought it was like a squirrel without a tail. But it must have been a big rat that was just hanging out. And you'd be surprised, too. You don't think this, I live in a nice suburban neighborhood, urban neighborhood. I'm suburban.
They don't care. They don't care.
Look, if you look outside your house, anybody who's listening to this, look by the curb line. You'll see sometimes you'll see it looks like a caravan. You always see like little shadows going down. They come out of the sewers and they check things out.
Because they're nocturnal. They come out at night. They have like that inner clock that a lot of animals come out during the day. But rats know their place. Okay?
The worst part is when they get your social security number and take out home loans.
They don't care. We'll live in any hole in the wall. Okay. But that's where rats live, and you got to watch out for What do you think, John? Yeah, I mean, you are a pop culture. You were a pop culture guy. I just want to ask you one question.
Sure.
What city in the United States do you think has the most rats?
No, I'm not going to go for the obvious. I'm not going to say Chicago, New York, or LA. I'm going to say someplace like Miami.
You should go with your first instinct because it was Chicago.
Oh.
Chicago was that. And and that's because Chicago was built on a swampland meadow,
cheese.
and so that there's still a lot of pockets of rats that are there, even from the natural side. Number two, of course, New York City, but number three is kind of obvious. We knew there was a lot of rats in Washington, D.C. Okay? Yeah, and how do politicians sleep at night?
How?
Well, they lie on one side, and then they turn over and they lie on the other.
There's a fake laughter for that one. But hey, Wade.
But Washington, D.C., okay?
A staple of the show.
And ladies and gentlemen, talk about Washington, D.C., and somebody, they always tweet, but our showrunner, John Kensil, would like to share with you right now his tweets for the week. John?
Hey, Wade. I just saw Shrek in 3D.
Oh, wow.
Well, Shrek is what you look like. In 3D was my hotel room.
Wow. So you stayed with Shrek in a hotel room?
A woman that looked like Shrek.
Home Shrekker.
Wade.
Yes.
I was at the obstetrician's office with my wife. The doctor said, "Do you have any questions?"
No.
Right? And I said, "If my wife's water breaks in Australia, does it come out of her mouth?" And then I did this, oh, and round the door.
Try my didgeridoo, Lou. Holy mackerel. That's a myth, by the way. It doesn't go that way.
It's out of toilet.
I don't want to tell you that.
Hey, Win.
Yes.
I found an ingenious way to discourage pickpockets.
How's that? You wear a skirt?
I fill my pockets with.
Oh, sorry.
I fill my pockets with human waste, and it works. Until the one time, I met Pasadena McDore, who was a fecal file grifter who thought he had pay dirt.
Ooh, they caught him brown-handed. Sorry, John.
People have been complaining that they should have a speaker in green rooms at comedy clubs.
Okay, yeah, I think that would be kind of neat, like candid camera.
Yeah, so you can hear what the previous acts are talking about, so you don't hit the same material.
Uh-huh.
Well, one time I didn't know that, and I had to file 3 ventriloquists. Fortunately,
You don't say.
Fortunately, I'm the only comedian working on the East Coast that has a ventriloquist dummy that has Peyronie's disease. Do you know what that is? Do you know what that is?
If I would say yes,
Do you know what it is? You know what
iconic sign for Pinocchio.
You know,
No, I'd be lying if I said I knew what that joke meant. Okay.
It's
Ventriloquist.
It's a painful curved penis when you have erection. It's called Peyronie's disease.
But so it would be like this on
Yeah. Hey, Win, because I use a ventriloquist dummy, I get my foot in the door.
You probably gave it termites.
I get a lot of shows at churches, synagogues, and clubs. But then they often close the door on my foot when I have to explain that my puppet has Peyronie's disease. And let me tell you, my little friend, Mr. Ben Johnson, is really upset.
Ben Johnson.
Hey, Win.
Wait a minute. Back up for a second. What about, that's not politically correct now. I mean, what about the people who actually have that? Well, I mean, what are they doing to feed themselves?
Well, my professional puppet maker, he was really apprehensive about making a puppet that suffers from Peyronie's disease. But after a strong palm greasing, he fulfilled my wishes of making a puppet that suffers from Peyronie's disease. Hey, Wade, I get so much tail with my puppets, it's not even funny.
How is that, John?
Well, sure, it's mostly chicks that are hooked on inhaling spray paint, but still, they're chicks. Wade.
You make love to female ventriloquists?
Yes.
Well,
Sylvester Stallone's wife.
She should have said something. Sylvester Stallone's wife. Yeah, I heard the relation was kind of rocky.
Yes. Jennifer Flavin filed for divorce after 26 years of marriage. But she gets custody of his never used dictionary.
Man, you know, I don't know if he's smart. I mean, he's pretentious about his art, knowledge, but he gets more business at his statue, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Than the entire, Picasso, Rembrandt's, and everything else they have in one museum of art.
If you think about it, in this show, our studio is in Philadelphia. It's that's that and the Liberty Bell, or one of the most famous places to visit in the country, probably.
Yeah, and they're both cracked.
And rat steaks. Hey, Wid.
Yeah.
I like shopping at Aldi stores, or Aldi, however you pronounce it.
I do too. It's a German efficiency. No, I don't trust the meat.
Oh, yeah. Well, plus, it's the only place I can pick up European foods like flounder helper, plaid bananas, and Kremlin flakes, the cereal that the Kremlin eats.
What about blood pudding that you talk about every week?
Wid.
Yes, sir.
Wid knows comedy. He's been around for a long time.
Long time. Saw them all.
When a waitress drops a bottle in the back of the room and it smashes on the floor, comedians usually yell out,
cheers.
No,
okay. Put that anywhere.
Put that anywhere. But whenever John Kensil.
Because you're unique, John.
Whenever I hear a glass break.
You're a eunuch. Would have been.
Whenever I hear a glass break in a comedy club.
Yes, sir.
I always say, what was that? Did Sandy Duncan headbutt Peter Falk?
I hear they don't see eye to eye.
Okay. And all those 70-year-old comedians in the background laugh because they know what I'm talking about.
Sandy Duncan and Sammy Davis Jr. both had glass eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we all know who Sammy Davis is, I hope.
Baby. Did Rex Harrison? He didn't have a glass eye, did he? Rex Harrison?
No.
Wait, I wrote a book.
Yeah. You read a book?
Wrote a book.
You wrote a book, John. I didn't hear that. What a novel idea.
It's called Gabagool for Morons. Right? It's right there, a picture of it.
Oh, Gabagool for Morons. Okay.
For the stupid idiot, here are the ins and outs of capicola, the Italian lunch meat. And it says John Kensil knows his Gabagool, right? But I have to tell everybody right now, there was a misprint.
Oh, how's that, John?
On page 123 for Italian wedding soup, it's supposed to be a half cup of chives, not roofing nails. Sorry.
No wonder people are biting their nails. Okay.
Wait.
Because you put it in Gabagool.
Wait, when I die,
yes,
I want to go out just like my great-grandfather. Quick and painless and not wearing a Catwoman outfit.
Your grandfather? Come on, John. Your grandfather, he died before Catwoman came out.
Win. He was a star. He was a go-getter. I went to the Phillies game last night.
Oh, that's very nice.
Well, I bought a Philly Fanatic Galunky from this dude who had a shopping cart in the back of the parking lot. I was blind for 3 hours, and I broke out in red and yellow freckles, and I met President Roosevelt. See, it wasn't healthy.
Wait.
It wasn't healthy. It was probably made out of rats.
You know what? The rats, you know what they pawn rats off as? You ever hear of boneless wings?
Yes.
That's rat. The mafia does that. I swear to God, they use rat meat. I'm blaming the mafia. Whatever. Not the Italians exclusively mafia, but just the meaning of the word mafia. Guys who wear hats.
Wait, on the way here tonight, we rode past my favorite Chinese restaurant.
One rat eat?
Yeah. Rat ho. All right.
Some young rat?
One time I rode my bike from here to there.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought a chicken fried rice and a small wonton soup. On the way home, I hit a bump in the sidewalk.
Oh, my God.
On my bike. And the bag fell open and exploded all over the sidewalk.
What did you do, John?
I was very disappointed, to say the least. And I was so upset about it being a historical site
that
I contacted the fat cats at the National Historic site committee because I wanted to have them put a brass plate down that said, "This is the chicken fried rice incident." They wouldn't return my calls. Weird. Whose palms do I have to grease?
That sounds like a 70s caper movie.
Weird. Every November on the Discovery Channel and A&E.
Thanksgiving.
Yes. There's always a new special on the Kennedy assassination.
Yeah.
Every year, and each year, the assassination is another plausible thing. One was that there was a Secret Service agent behind him, fell, and his gun went off, hit him in the back of the head. There's more than one shooter who was involved in, LBJ, the mafia, the
Umbrella Man.
Yeah, right. Well, I just watched the latest news special on the Kennedy assassination,
Mm-hmm.
and this one blames his death on
Right.
too many carbs.
He should have went to the book suppository.
Good God. I don't know your inside jokes like that.
No, I actually slept at the grassy knoll when I was hitchhiking cross country. When I was a kid, I went to Dallas. And where do you want to go when you get to Dallas? You want to see the grassy knoll.
Did you smoke it?
No, I was a young hitchhiker then.
Oh.
I wasn't. I'm drinking beer.
Oh.
I had my sleeping bag, and I found a convenient bush. Okay, and went to sleep. I did. I slept. At
This could be a topic for another show, but I did watch a really good. This is a really good Kennedy assassination video.
Uh-huh.
It's on A&E. I forget what it's called, but it's all they digitalized everything, and they warn you. They show the shootings. They show they show like everything happened. But this one, everything. It's all plausible about Oswald getting 3 shots off. They had a guy with the same rifle.
Right. I mean, they did that years ago. I remember that years ago. It's not a thing. So, and I'm sure they're going to be like MythBusters. And do that again.
That's what they did. They got the exact same rifle, and
Right.
they even had a box of the same bullets from the 60s, right, for that gun. And they always talk about the magic bullet theory that they in the movie JFK. Kevin Costner goes, "You mean to tell me this bullet went through that way, made a left-hand turn, a right-hand turn, right-hand turn, left-hand turn, right?" Well, if you watch this video, that is not what happened. The bullet went through Kennedy's neck, through Governor Connolly's shoulder, through his wrist, and into his thigh, right? Because Connolly wasn't sitting on a seat in front of that truck. He was sitting on a milk crate lower than Kennedy, and it was all plausible. So then people say, "So you mean to tell me it went through Kennedy's neck, his shoulder, his arm, and his thigh, and it fell out completely clear on the stretcher?" Right? That part there is very implausible to me. So they got this rifle, and they fired the same bullet into a block of wood, of fireplace log. They cut the log open. The bullet looked like it was brand new. It's a well-made bullet. But anyway.
It's a well-made bullet.
Yeah, but back to the tweets.
And John,
yes,
back to your tweets.
I'm going to the Philadelphia Boat Show for one reason and one reason only at the boat show in Philadelphia.
You have a yacht of time on your hands.
I'm going to see Chaz Palminteri perform his one-man play, A Bronx Tale, in a scuba suit under 20,000 gallons of balsamic vinaigrette.
Now you can't leave.
Wait, about 30 years ago, there's a popular song by Suzanne Vega, Luca. My name is Luca. I live upstairs from you.
I'm sorry.
Right.
That's one of those Indigo Girl songs.
Well, I never told anybody this. I live next door to Suzanne Vega.
Yeah.
And when she wrote that song, I think it's about child abuse.
Yeah.
Well, she sings in the song, "There's a kid named Luca who lives upstairs from me." Luca, yeah, I've seen him before. He's always making noise at night walking into doors. I couldn't take anymore. So I went upstairs to Luca's apartment.
Right.
And there was Luca beating the shit out of his parents. It was him. Wid. Story made no sense. Wid.
Yeah. Yes, Luca.
Exactly 8 years ago tonight,
Yeah.
I fell off a 30-foot ladder.
Oh my goodness,
And
John.
see the picture there? I had a big. You can't even see the scar on my forehead there. All right.
Okay, that wasn't your real ladder. That was your step ladder. But no, I'm sorry, John. No, let me. Is that? Oh, yeah, I remember when you fell off that.
Got a black eye. I'm showing you with a picture right now.
Yeah. Now look, you look a little like Marlon Brando there.
Yeah, right.
You know.
Yeah. And I
You
jammed
could have been
my
a contender.
I jammed my wrist up. I couldn't. Right. I when the ladder fell over, I put my hands up to protect myself. I was like, bong, 30 feet down.
Oh, okay.
So when I put I put that picture up on my Tinder profile.
Yeah.
And I said, after my accident, my doctor told me not to lift any heavy objects. So now I have to sit down when I urinate. But I still didn't get any tail.
You know, the rats can actually, they can, if you're sitting on your toilet, don't think that they can't come up through the toilet system, okay? John, you know this. Your dad was a plumber. You know, have you heard about this? And I thought it was an urban legend, but it's not an urban legend.
The stories I've heard when people found a rat in their toilet, the rat jumped in from the bathroom. It didn't come up the pipe. Because there's nothing really to grab onto up a pipe.
Well, a rat can fit into a hole, okay, because of their whiskers. They feel around. So they can fit into a hole the size of a quarter. I used to hear it was a dime, but now I guess with inflation, it's a quarter now that they can fit. But, I mean, but they actually can tread water for 3 days or 4 days, without drowning. So a lot of times, you got to look before you leap.
That story I said earlier about the chicken fried rice incident.
Oh, the chicken fried rice incident.
That Chinese restaurant closed up, and I knew the guy. This is a true story.
Okay.
And he gave me a table and 2 booths, like red satin, restaurant booths.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I snuck them back to my mom's house and I put them in her basement. I just thought it'd be really cool.
Right.
Like a man cave when we were kids.
Sure, everybody wants them.
My mom came down. She goes, "Get them the hell out of here! Don't you know those things are full of rat eggs? Rat eggs are mammals. No, they lay eggs." That's
now listen to this. Okay, now, it's the weirdest thing that how prolific they are at sex. Okay, they they start breeding. Okay, at 21 days. 21 days. Where'd you meet? How do they kindle that? Where do they go for dates? 21 days. They're with their parents until they're like 7 days and things like that. But 2 rats.
Yes.
Okay. 2 rats. And I saw 2 last night. Within a year, they can get 15,000 offspring. Now, I said 15,000 offspring. 2 rats.
They breed it exponentially.
Tell me that ain't good eating after the big one, okay? Yeah. After the apocalypse or whatever it's gonna come. But it's in 5 weeks, and after they give birth, okay, 5 weeks and their thing. About 12 hours later, the woman rat, the lady rat, the female rat, she goes into heat again. 21 hours later.
21 hours?
21 hours, and they can make love, okay? They can make love, okay? They've been trying to making like 500 times in 6 hours, okay?
Oh, man.
500 times.
Is it like rat Viagra? They watch rat porno films?
I don't know.
Ron Jeremy looks like a rat.
No wonder they talk about tail. Okay, because the tail is very sensitive on a rat, and and regulates all that. But I just thought that was so amazing that that's why we've had rat problems from ancient Egypt to tomorrow, is because the rat is so prolific at at reproduction. They breed like rats, but. I love it that your mom thought that they were rat eggs.
Win.
Yes.
I've been going around saying inspirational inspirational
You're very
phrases.
inspirational. You're right on.
And when I go down to Center City, Philadelphia, I hang out by the Liberty Bell, which is right
Okay.
by the public radio station.
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah.
The Liberty Bell,
And,
America.
And I stand in the corners and I yell inspirational phrases like, everybody's chilling, not enough Jonah Hillen, right? And I sell T-shirts. Well, the lady reporter from NPR said, I'm going to interview this guy, right? So
you got interviewed? I didn't know
Yeah.
that, John. I'm going to pick up that tape.
So I said to her, everybody's blaming, not enough regaining. And the reporter said, what does that mean? And I said, if you have to ask, you're part of the problem, sister.
You told her. Tell it like it is.
Wid,
Yes, I'm here.
on this
With my
date,
Frank Sinatra hat now.
on this date today, in 1957,
Okay.
Philly star Richie Ashburn, who went on to become an announcer.
Okay. Yes, I know Richie Ashburn. You actually were at his grave, weren't you?
Yeah,
They have a
they have a
baseball grave.
A grave, and they have one for Harry Callis at the Laurel Hill Cemetery.
Yeah.
Richie Ashburn on this date hit a foul ball to third base, and it went into the stands and struck a spectator woman named Alice Roth right in the face,
Okay.
and it broke her nose.
Just like a rat.
Yes. As she was being carried out on a stretcher from the stadium,
Mm-hmm.
the play resumed. Richie Ashburn hit a foul ball and hit her in the leg and broke it.
It's too bad he didn't hit her in the other side of the face, in the back of the head. It could have been a double header. Okay, no, sorry.
But that's a true story.
I've read that in other places, and coincidence.
Yeah.
I think not.
TMZ.
TMZ, Turner movie.
No, 30 mile zone,
30 miles.
which I think is the 30 mile of like LA.
Yeah,
Always
yeah,
something horrible
horrible.
going on.
Burbank.
They reported there was a mullet championship for kids with the mullet haircut.
Yeah.
And this kid here won. One kid won for a kid, and one kid won for a teen finalist. And you know what the first prize was?
2 tickets to Joe Dirt.
No. They got to meet the band Rat. And it wasn't that hard because they all work at the same car wash.
Hey, business in the front, party in the back.
It's almost September.
I know. My birthday is coming up.
It took me 9 months. 9 months. But I finally fulfilled my New Year's resolution. I got, in the summertime, by Mungo Jerry inked on my back.
In the summertime when the weather is fine and drinking wine and look out for the rats.
Any comedians in the audience?
No, I don't think so.
Can I give you a joke?
Yeah, sure.
Say it to the audience. Hey, where are all my tall people at?
Where are my tall people at?
And a tall guy raises his hand
Uh-huh.
and go, man, your mom was so tall, she could probably 69 Bigfoot. Wait,
You ain't heard nothing yet.
did you ever see somebody hit their thumb with a hammer and they yell out, Jesus H. Christ?
Yeah.
Well, by the way, though,
son of a bitch.
when they say Jesus H. Christ, when they say H, you know what the H stands for?
What's that?
Halitosis. Hey, man, if you spent 3 days dead in a cave, your breath isn't going to smell like a Christmas tree air freshener either.
Listerine made up the term halitosis.
Did it really?
Yeah.
You just ruined everything my life was built upon.
His dying breath. Speaking of dying breath, can I
Yes.
interject one?
Yeah.
I know we all like Jack Daniels. Okay, are you you were a Jack Daniels fan when you were drinking, right?
Like the devil went down to Georgia.
No, and Jack Daniels and Frank Sinatra's favorite drink,
yes.
right? He like Jack Daniels and Coke. You'd always see a Jack Daniels fountain. Well, Jack Daniels himself was down there in wherever they are in Kentucky, where they make Jack Daniels. But Jack Daniels himself, didn't have a great memory, and he couldn't remember the combination to a safe. It was up to his nephew to remember this. So Jack Daniel, they don't know if he was drinking or not. He got so mad, he kicked the safe, because he couldn't remember the combination. And after he kicked he broke his toe. And then his toe got septic blood poisoning, and he died.
That's right.
He kicked the safe. And his last words were, honest to God, one more drink. Okay.
Really?
Honest, and that was a poor Jack Daniels. So just remember that Jack was a human just like all of us. Jasper was his real name. But and Newton was his Jasper Newton, but they called him Jack. Who wants to be called Jasper?
Ugh. Speaking of death, I thought I was buying a new car smell, air freshener, Christmas tree air freshener, a new car smell.
I thought that was your cologne.
But I made a mistake. I accidentally bought old people smell. And now my car smells.
Gold Bond, medicated powder.
Well, my car now smells like mothballs, bananas, anger, and Jeopardy at 7:00. Wid,
put that in the form of a question, John.
I was at the backyard carnival at the church the other day.
Okay, yeah,
and
that's what you call it.
Well, and the caricature booth broke down, and I was stuck in the chair for over 4 hours until I was rescued.
Yeah.
I have over 200 drawings of me running a skateboard to a sign that says "Girls." Wait,
cowabunga!
You get all your information from Wikipedia.
Yeah, I like Wikipedia as a beginning, a place you can sort of start out on other things. I know anybody could place that on there. I hear that. But I also like that in small towns, they'll tell you where notable people come from.
That's what I like. That's number one thing I'd look at if I'm at a different town. Right. Notable celebrities, people of note. But anybody can edit Wikipedia, right? Like change a date, add a footnote. Okay. I just changed one before the show tonight.
Good.
There's a Wikipedia entry for the sitcom Cheers.
Okay.
And I just said it was based on a United Kingdom show, UK show, called Shitface O'Toole's Pub. That's going to screw everybody up.
And it was sponsored by Cheerio. I'm sorry, I'm a serial punster.
I was disqualified from a Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
What? You couldn't make both ends meet, or what?
Well, no. I thought they could be put in your body without eating them. Win.
Go on, John. You're on a roll. Thanks for being frank with us.
I'm sorry for acting so bratty.
I never saw such a thing.
Wait, I went back and saw my friends from my high school. And
both of them?
Yes. And they were all wearing their Letterman jackets. And it pissed me off.
My favorite group.
It pissed me off. Because I never rooted for Letterman. Win. My favorite
kind of cocky. He's cocky.
Oh yeah. My favorite rock and roll story of all time.
You love rock and roll. I know that. You're a big Tom Petty fan. Yeah. You know all the history of a lot of these bands. You like a different era than I like, but you have educated me in a very good way. But what about your little rock and roll fantasy?
It just passed the 18th anniversary. This is my favorite rock and roll incident. There's Ozzy Osbourne biting the bat head off. Jimi Hendrix lighting his guitar on fire.
Oh yeah.
Different people collapsing and dying on stage, and right on August 8th, 2004. Right. There's the Kensil Street Bridge in Chicago, Illinois. It's a famous bridge you see in all. I think it's in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I think it goes over the canal underneath. It gets the dyed green.
I've been on that bridge, and I'll tell you a story sometime.
Well, it's called the Kensil Street Bridge. Okay.
My car broke down on it. Okay.
Really?
I swear to God. Right in the middle of it with all the big, tall, giant old buildings from the my
It-
U-Haul broke down on it, and
the steam, the overheated. Well, it's a famous bridge that we've seen in millions of movies.
Mhm.
Well, one day a passenger sightseeing boat was going up the the river, the Kensil Street River, right? And they're seeing all the wonderful sights, but from the river viewpoint. As it passed under that bridge, a tour bus from Dave Matthews dumped 800 pounds of human waste septic tank on the sightseeing people. So they probably got all like vegan and pot waste dumped in their faces. And they all had to get like hepatitis shots and be washed off.
oh yeah, just like rats who eat their own poop. Everything goes back to the rat. You see that? See, you're the rat. That was a couple years ago.
2 more, and that's it. I know it took a long time, but all right.
No, you're good, John.
Worst movie I've ever seen. What's the worst major movie you've seen? Don't say.
I'll tell you, worst movie I've ever seen was Shakespeare in Love.
Awful. All right, and it won an Academy Award for What's Your Puss?
Yeah.
Well, the worst movie I ever saw was a film called Grown Ups 2 with Adam Sandler and David Spade and Chris Rock.
And my good friend Richie Minervini, he was in that.
Yes.
Okay. A lot of people, and they went to all sorts of to play a basketball scene. They had an official
That's a big scene.
basketball coach getting these guys. It's so funny how much time and effort they put into the movies and making every whim can be catered to. So they have like real people to teach you how to play basketball when you're just going to play basketball as old guys. And
That's what it was. Yeah. Well, the movie's awful. It's just lousy.
Yeah.
In fact, it was so lousy.
How lousy was it, John?
I got up and walked out of it. Unfortunately, I was on a flight from Philadelphia to Camden, New Jersey, and I fell 40,000 feet into the Delaware River. Oh, speaking of movies,
Airplane jokes.
have you ever seen when they were filming an M. Night Shyamalan movie?
No, I have never. Oh, yes, I did. I saw them filming The Happening in Rittenhouse Square, and they had a giant wind machine there, and it would make all the trees. I mean, it was amazing what they could do with this wind machine, but every once in a while they had to run it for a long time. Okay, going through the trees, and he was there, director like, and but you would hear something crack every now and then, and they go over and they'd saw off that.
The branch got weakened.
Any widow makers they call them, but I only saw parts of that The Happening because he lost me after the one that the
Sixth Sense.
the one after
Unbreakable.
No, underneath the pool that the woman comes
The Visitor.
Yeah, or something.
It has the word visiting or something with Paul Giamatti.
Yeah.
Well, today is M. Night Shyamalan's 52nd birthday.
Oh,
And I'm writing a 1,200-page biography on him.
yeah.
And the first line I wrote was, "Those in the know call M. Night Shyamalan the chubby checker director, because with him, it's all about the twist." And that's all I've written so far.
Well, let's twist again, like they did last summer.
And that's it for this week's.
Oh man. John Kensil and his infamous tweets, okay, that all led back to, the rats that we were talking about this week.
Stallone got divorced this week. Or he's getting divorced.
I guess he's Stallone again, naturally.
Well, Clint Eastwood,
Yeah.
he dated a woman named Sandra Locke.
Oh, I remember Sandra Locke. She had the big eyes, and she was the bad actress that was always on by his side in a lot of his later his mid 90s movies and things like that.
She passed away a couple years ago.
Yeah, and he was nice to her. He gave her money or whatever.
She kind of looked. Anyway, he helped her make a film she made called Rat Boy.
Oh, I remember Rat Boy. Yeah.
And I saw it, and she plays a reporter, and she's walking down the street, and she hears people dumpster diving, and she meets a little boy with a rat face, right?
I remember, yeah.
And she befriends him, and then she tries to make him a star.
Okay, yeah.
He hates it. So the police are looking for him, and he runs away. And he waves to her, and he runs away. And that's the whole entire movie right there, called Rat Boy.
And he runs away?
Yeah, and so he doesn't
See,
die.
that's why a lot of times rats are referred to as like, oh, you rat. It's because when a building collapses, they'll all run out at the same time. That, like they did at the Madison Square Garden. And it, especially if a boat is sinking, the rats will run off first. Okay, they can thing, but that's they almost have a sixth sense about things like that, because their hearing is so good. Their eyesight isn't very good. Their eyesight of a rat is why they have such great sense of smells. They actually use them in detection of because they smell so well. Not like you, John. No, they smell so well that they are used like the dogs are used for drug detection, and they are used for disease detection and things like that. So rats are actually trying to give back. Okay.
Well, that's the big news story of the week. That's from August 18th last week.
Wow, rats are up to date, baby.
Scientists fed rats Coke and Pepsi for 2 months straight, and it made the rats stupider. That's what it says here. In a new study, a team of researchers found that feeding rats soft drinks like Coke and Pepsi caused enough damage to the unfortunate critters' brains to cause memory loss, cognitive impairment, and cellular distress. It said they would put on Ed Hardy T-shirts and listen to Justin Bieber.
Rats are usually very intelligent for them. They're a very clever species. They're very hard to catch. Okay, because they like things because they can't see too well. They notice things, through their feelers and through their feelers or whiskers and their, acute hearing and, and other things that we don't really know about, how they communicate with their tails and things like that. But they're usually very intelligent. They know how to go through mazes. They have a good memory for mazes, and they can actually do tricks, and they can verify when they know your name. I mean, when you name them, they'll know their name. If you go, hey, come here, what would you name your rat if you had a pet rat?
Sergeant Squeakso of the cheese universe. Nibbles.
Nibbles. Okay, come here, Nibbles.
Right.
Nibbles, the other one that are over there, like Ratso. I mean, he wouldn't come, but Nibbles would come, if you called him. I thought that was and Queen Victoria, the most famous queen for years and years, passed away in 1901, and Victorian era and named after. She actually was introduced to tame rats. Okay, her big time rat catcher, I forget his name. It's a very common name, but he was one of the first ones to breed rats that were, docile.
Well, here's another one too. Do you know what one of the number one mechanical problems with cars in New York City is?
Happened to my friend George.
Rats getting in your engines.
Yep. And they eat the wires. He had to get he had a classic Mercedes, and he couldn't start it one day. And he took it to the and of course they said,
a woman said she has a Prius, which are expensive hybrid cars.
Yeah.
To the same auto body shop in Brooklyn for tune-ups and other repairs because the light kept coming on for check engine. Well, he popped the hood, and finally they found out what it was. A rat chewed through a sensor wire, and she had a $700 bill. It says rats are bedding down on their car hoods. It's not new for New Yorkers. Over the past 2 years, they've seen rat issues coming out all over the place. The number one car is the Hyundai Cheesemobile.
Yeah, just tell them to keep away from the catalytic converter.
The catalytic converter.
But yeah, that happened to my friend George, and he has, there's a parking garage. He put it in. He loved the thing, and yet, and it was very common. He said in the city of New York, and now you just confirmed that to me.
And a major news story in Washington D.C.
Mm-hmm.
A 3-alarm fire in Frederick, in the neighborhood of Frederick, in the District of Columbia. Displaces residents in there, but it leaves a pet cat, snakes, and rats dead. They had to report that a rat died.
The rats don't they die? They communicate through their tails in some ways. Okay, and didn't you tell me about that? Sometimes they find rats that they're attached together by the tail.
There's a name for that,
and there's a name for it's called like king rat or something.
Yeah, it's called king rat. It's
a phenomenon that rats have that at the time of demise or mass extinction, that they will link their tails together and form sort of a crown looking.
That's what they call it, king rat. If you look on like a Google search for king rat images.
I didn't.
The ones I've seen, it's about 30 rats, and it's like a circle, but all their tails are intertwined in the middle. And like you said, it can breed 15,000 in a year. And anyway, they can't go anywhere. They die. They can't eat, and they all die wrapped together. And for some reason, somebody started calling it a king rat. I guess they took open a wall and found this pile of dead rats, and it looks like a crown.
Yeah, or there's the fire or anything like that. See, a male rat is called a buck, okay, and the female rat is called a doe, okay, like deer, right? A doe, see, but it doesn't doe, a rat, and
I never knew that.
Well, yeah, and the kids are called pups, but the coolest thing is what they call a group of rats. It's called a mischief.
I never knew that.
A mischief of rats. Okay, it's like a murder of crows. Okay, those were the two. When I did trivia, I used to always
the murder
ask that question.
What of lions?
Yeah, exactly. That went on to multiple animal names, but to have mischief, I mean, is right there.
Well, back to New York City. Mm-hmm. I was wrong about that.
Oh, they love it. They have that pizza rat from over there.
The
footage of a rat taking a whole piece of pizza.
Yeah, down subway steps,
and it became a symbol of New York.
Well, in New York City too, with the quarantine and people weren't using everything as much. The rats weren't getting as much food. And in the first 4 months of 2022, the city received more calls to its rat hotline than any time since its records began. A record 7,400 sightings of rats. That's only a fraction because they're not going to call in. It said a lot of people in New York like standing on rats as a conveyor belt to get them from store to store. Kids are calling their playground Rat Park. They call them. They said we avoid certain blocks because they call them rat runs. If you go east down 65th Street at dusk, you can see rats scampering across the street. But there's something New York City has now called Rat Academy, where it's a 3-hour course on rat management. It doesn't tell you how to kill them, but it just tells you how to, get away from them. Don't put food out for them.
You know that there's somebody in New York selling rat meat right now, pretending that it's boneless chicken.
The mascot for Chuck E. Cheese, people are saying, isn't really a mouse; it's a giant rat.
I heard, they had to change it for publicity. Who wanted to eat with a rat? But they changed it to a mouse in 1997.
Yeah, and with our time is up.
Man, I had a good time tonight talking about the rats. Okay.
And but that was interesting. God, we could talk. Rats could be a part of the show every week. There's some crazy rat story.
Oh yeah, I mean, and one of my favorite movies by John Waters is Desperate Living.
Yes.
Okay, and over the opening title, they show a beautiful laid out garnished food, and you see that it's a rat. Okay,
right.
That a person is eating and going through.
Ugh.
And you can almost feel their emotion as they start to realize that they're eating a rat. But watch out for those boneless chickens, okay? I would kind of stay away. That's why I don't like the McNuggets, because it might be, McBen.
They say too that when you sleep at night, the average American swallows 8 rats a year in their sleep.
Wow.
But that's it.
That must bug the bugs.
You can check out the legendary Wid. He has great videos on YouTube where he explores self-archaeology with the stuff he's collected over the years on YouTube, the legendary Wid. John Kensil's tweets are real tweets. We have videos and we have stuff going online. And we can call this episode The Rat Show.
Or how about the Rat Pack?
All right, the Rat Pack.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Rat Pack next time. But WRAT signing off.
All right, guys, and thank you very much for listening. That was a fun show tonight.